everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After a rough day in Normandy last week, we're heading back to a more familiar setting as game number 5 on my Tac Up Wargaming list is ready. The Phoenix's Fury is ready at our airbase in Great Britain, as we're about to head up on another mission in target for today from Legion Wargames. We're in a bomber crew during World War II Europe, charged with bombing the Reich. So let's go meet our crew. We are playing the first campaign, which is at the early stages of the bombing campaign. We're on mission 4. We haven't been able to do much the last 2 missions because we've gotten called back, whether because of equipment failures or because of cloud cover. Anyway, we've got Jester in the bombardier position. Ruff's our navigator, because of course. Patrick's our pilot. Matthew's our co-pilot. Angel is in the engineer top turret spot. Cypher's in the radio room. Diablo's on ball turret. Wolf's at the left waist. Sage is at the right waist. And Tiger is in the tail turret. With that, we can move over to the main game area and check everything out over on that shot. Everything looks good on the shot here as I'm checking it out. I do have my zone entry tables here off shot, or slightly in shot actually. But I think we're all set up for this mission, so let's finish our final pre-flight checks on the Phoenix's Fury and get into this mission. The first thing we need to do is we need to roll 2d10 for our target. It's going to be a 1 to 100. We'll read blue, then white. And we need to figure out what target we're aiming at. We are on, I believe this is, I haven't been tracking dates very well at all. This is, we're going to just call this September 1942 at this point. Let's see what we get here. Let's see, a 90 means our target this time is Saint Nazaire, where we're being sent to work over a U-boat. We're being sent to work over a U-boat facility. Actually, probably a U-boat dock. Then we need to set up the zone worksheet. Okay, we're going up to zone 8. I'll work on this. Almost exactly enough room for the worksheet. Okay, so Saint Nazaire, no modifier in Europe. No modifier Europe. Alright, zone 4 is -2 over, what is W? I forget. I know there's a key for this, but I forget what the Western Europe maybe? That's the only thing I can think of that would make sense for that. Water terrain, that's what it is. Right, so zone 5 is -1 again over water terrain. Right, zone 6 is -1 over France. Zone 7 is also -1 over France. And if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've played this game, but if I remember correctly, the modifier is, the number to the left is the modification to 5-1 when we're determining fighter resistance. Okay. So now that we've got that figured out, we've got our target set up. We have to determine formation position for our bomber, which I believe is going to be in the flight operating instructions. Shouldn't need the gazetteer anymore at this point. No. Oh, probably pre-mission steps. Here we go. Okay, so now that we've got that sorted out, roll for the combat cell position. That's a 1d6, which we're going to use these honestly apposized dice for that. 2, so we're actually in the high cell this time. So we're in high. And then we're rolling 2d6 for our position within that bomber cell. If we end up being the cell leader, we will be rolling that again. Since we have flown, we've only flown 3 missions, I think. So a 2d6 on the total. That's a 9, so we're bomber 12. That we can work with. So this time we are. So we're in so we're in cell 12. Oh, there goes my crew. But I will point out that we're there from the top view, here on the front, and back here, way in the back on the cell. So let me get the crew laid back out again. Probably could have zoomed in on that, but oh well. Ball gunner, left waist, right waist, pilot, co-pilot, bombardier, navigator, engineer, tail gunner. Okay. Now that we've got all that set up, target selection's done. We rolled for our bomber position. We're not doing anything with bombing formations. We're done with the gazetteer. Mission's fighter escort. Okay, so it looks like we roll for. Oh, I think we roll for that when we get into each zone. For each of the zone ranges in the campaign. You'll roll once as you move into each zone range. Okay. So for 2 to 5, 6 to 15, we're gonna have no escort. I'll note that now. Okay, now that we've got that figured out, now we can get into the takeoff procedure. So now we're rolling. To see if the mission gets started. We'll roll a single d10 for that. We'll use the blue die for that. So first we're rolling for the weather. We said we were flying in September, so no weather modifier. A 5 means we're looking at good weather as we head up. Okay, so now we roll for takeoff to see if we have possible equipment malfunctions. We would only get that to happen on a 1. That's a 2, so since it's good weather, we have a good takeoff, which means we'll be moving right into zone 2. Alright, so we are all set there. Our primary target is zone 8. So we move into zone 2 next. Now we have to roll for weather in the zone. We have to roll for fighter escort as well, since we're in zones 2 through 5. So for the first one, we're going to roll a d10 for the fighter escort for 2 through 5. That's a 9, which means we're gonna have good fighter cover. At least on the way out. Alright, so we're all clear there. Now we have to roll for the weather in the zone. See what we're looking at. I'm going to bring the log sheet a little bit close. Actually, I'm going to bring the log sheet and the zone worksheet over closer to me. Alright, so now we're rolling 1d10 for weather in the zone. Alright, 10, that's 100% cloud cover, which would potentially trigger a mission recall right here. So we're rolling on 4-2 already, and that's a 2d10 roll. That's a 50, so mission will continue. We'll be under 100% cloud cover for this one. We roll for mechanical failure next. That's a cocked die. We'll re-roll that. That's a 42. Mission continues, no problem there. Now we see if contrails form in the zone. That's a 2 plus 1 is... actually, that's a 2, so we will have contrails. I believe we're assumed to be in formation until an effect takes us out of formation. Boarding the mission. We are going to continue on this mission. We are going to continue today. We had no problem on mechanical failure. So yeah, we're already on contrails forming. Okay. So we didn't have anything that pulled us out of formation, which means now we're starting to prepare for combat. So we roll on a -2. We have a so rolling for fighter resistance in the zone. We have a -2 modifier for 100% cloud cover and a -1 since our fighter escort here is good. So we have a total of actually we have a +1 for contrails as well. So that's going to net out to a total of -2. 4 -2 is 2, so we're going to have light resistance. And now we need to see how many rolls we have. We have -1 if we have -1 since resistance is light. Ten -1 is 9, so we're going to have 2 waves of fighters coming at us. So now we have to roll 2d6, combining them in APA style with our 2d6. We'll read black, then red. So for our first wave, a 45 on light resistance is an ME 109 at 130 high. We'll get our fighters out. ME 109 at 130 high, which is up here. Okay, so now we go into combat after that. Okay, determine the number. Random events table is checked before entering the next zone. Okay, right. Let me put a bookmark here, so I don't forget that. That will work for a bookmark. Okay, so actually we're probably just going to end up getting it. Roll on table 5-4 to determine how many waves in each zone get driven off. Now we have good cover, so short of something completely catastrophic, we're going to get this fighter ran off. That's a 10, so we'll be running off 3 waves in. So it'll be 3 then 2 in this zone, which means this guy's going to get run off. And now we see, and now we roll for the next round of, now we roll for the next fighters coming at us. '24 is 2 ME 109s, 12 o'clock level and 12 o'clock high. But since we still have a 3 and a 2 on the second wave, we don't. Those fighters are going to get driven off for us, so no problems there. So we don't have to deal with anything there. Next, we're rolling for random events before we leave the zone. So table 5-3D. Okay. Let's see what happens here. An 11, ace for a day. Whoa. Okay, so somebody just became an ace for a day, which means we get to roll a d6 for that. So is that... I'll have to see what being an ace for a day what being an ace means, but 4 is going to be the ball turret gunner, so in the ball turret, Diablo's ace for a day. On our first random event check. Nice. So now I want to figure out what being... I believe that just adds a +1 die modifier to hit. Now let me look at that for bombers. And of course there's no index on this rule book, because that would make a little too much sense. I wonder if it's in the credit. Not counted toward ace status. That's not what I want to find out. Crew replacement. Want some oxygen. Well, at any rate, we're going to be getting ready for the next round of combat, or for the next zone. There's defensive fire, doesn't explain there. Attack waves. I'm just going to rule it as a +1 roll. That's probably all it is. But we're on to zone 3 next, and we have to roll for the weather, I believe, with a modifier of a +1. +2 if the previous zone weather was 100% cloud cover on a D10. 8 + 2 is 10 is another 100% cloud cover. Where's my pen? Here we are. Which means we have to roll again to see if the mission's aborted. That's an 80, so mission is not aborted. Do we have a mechanical failure? $93, no. How about contrails? 4, no. No contrails this time. Okay. And the next thing we roll for here is fighter resistance in the zone. So once again, we're -2 with 100% cloud cover, and -1 since the escort's good. So this is a total of -3. 10 -3 is 7, so we have 1 wave coming at us. Oh, I forgot to roll for resistance. Oh, actually -3 is 7, so we have heavy resistance. Right on the wrong chart. So we add +2 to the German fighter resistance. We add +2 for the number of waves, since the resistance is heavy. 6 + 2 is 8, which means we have 2 waves coming at us. And now we need to see how many fighters our escort will drive away. Number of fighters driven off. That's a 4, so they're going to drive off 3, then 2 again. Alright, so now we're rolling for what fighters are coming at us. We're under heavy resistance this time. But 32 is 2 FW-190s at 1030 high and 3 o'clock level. But since we have 3 on our fighter resistance roll, those are going to get rolled, or those are going to get run off. So the next wave, a 64, 3 FW-190s, 1030 high, 12 o'clock high, and 130 high. So now which one do we want to have driven off? Which 2 do we want to have driven off and get left? I'd like to leave 1 for Diablo if we can. So we're going to drive off the on a 64, 1030 high. You can't touch that. 12 o'clock high, 130 high. So the ball turret can't touch these anyway. We're just going to drive off the... We're going to leave ourselves with a 12 o'clock high. So we're going to grab an FW-190 for 12 o'clock high. Now we need to determine the ace status of the pilot. Which for that, we need table 5-5. That'll be a 1d6 roll. Three is an average pilot, so normal guy coming at us. All right. So now we get to determine defensive fire. What can we have aim at it from 12 o'clock high? Well, we're definitely going to throw the nose turret. Where's the... Okay, here's the nose gun, so we're going to throw that at 12 o'clock high. We'll aim the top turret at it as well. Actually, do we have a top turret? We're supposed to. That shit went flying as well, didn't it? Or did I never... I might have never put it out. So let me grab the engineer out real quick. If I can ever find him in this mess. Where is he? Green pilots. Those are the German pilots. Not what I want here. Bombardier. Engineer top turret. Where in the world is our engineer and top turret guy? Ah, here we are. Top turret. Okay. Actually, well, before I finish setting up defensive fire, I do need to take a small break. Okay, now that I've got that figured out, we're pointing the nose gun at it. And the top turret. So we'll point those two at it. Right? Yes, those are the only two we can point at it. So now we're going to roll for bomber defensive fire. We'll roll for the nose gun first. And that's going to be a 2d6 roll. And we have a... Well, we don't have any modifiers on this because we couldn't get Diablo to point at this. 8 is good enough for a hit, so we roll for damage. That's another 2d6 roll. 3 is a... 3 on an FW-190 is an FCA. Fighter will continue the attack, but it'll break off, I believe, after that. Fighter damage but continues the attack. So we find a fighter continues attack for the FW-190. That's the nose gun. And then the top turret. So we do have a hit for... So that was for the nose gun. Who's in charge of the nose gun? I believe the Bombardier is in charge of the nose gun. Let me just double check that. Would it say on here who fires? Who fires it? Of course not, because that would make too much sense. But I think it's probably Jester who would be firing that from the Bombardier position. So yeah, we're going to give that one to Jester. And then we'll fire a shot from the top turret, which that will be... Who's in the top turret? That's Angel with that one. That's a 9. That'll be good for another hit from... That'll be good for a hit from Angel as well. So we'll see what kind of damage Angel does. That's a 9, so that plane goes very much toodaloo. So that plane's destroyed. And we'll see what happens, assuming we make it back. So that was the second wave in the zone. Now we're into zone 4. So first thing we have to do, of course, is roll for the weather. And we're still +2 because the previous weather was 100% cloud cover. 2 + 2 is 4, so now we have haze. Which means we're not rolling for mission recall. We do roll for a mechanical failure. That's a 97, no failure there. Do we have contrails? 2, we do have contrails. Okay, so... Oh, I forgot to roll for a random event. So we'll back up and roll for the random event real quick. And see what we get this time, since we are moving into a new zone. 10 is extreme cold. Roll a d6 for each gun position. This random event is when we leave each zone, right? Check before entering the next zone. Okay, so now we need to find our gun jams, which is going to potentially be a big problem here. At least I'm assuming we have some gun jam turrets, or some gun jam chits somewhere in this mess. Frostbite. Well, I think the way we'll do that is we'll flip the turret over if it's not available. So we're rolling for the... So we're going to roll for the nose gun first. I believe it's a 1 to 5. It's fine. A 6, it's jammed. So the nose gun... So the nose gun is jammed. How about the top turret? That one's fine. The radio gun is also fine. The ball gunner, also fine. Left waist, also good. Right waist, also fine. And the tail gun, also fine. So the only gun that's out for the mission is the nose gun. I assume there's some way to repair that, though. There has to be. Extreme cold. Okay, so now we're moving into zone... So we're starting in zone 4. Next thing we need to roll for is... What did we roll for already? So we're up to contrails, which means now we need to roll for the resistance in the zone. We're still on a -1 roll because the roll was... Actually, I think we're supposed to be treating the zeros as zeros on the D10. Is there something in here that clarifies that? 0 is a 10. Okay, so that's what I thought. I might try to pick up some D10s with the actual 10 on there so it's not confusing. Alright, we rolled for contrails, so now we're rolling for resistance in the zone. -1 since the fighter escort's good, which is canceled out by contrails, so this is a straight roll. A 4 means we have moderate resistance. And how many waves we have coming at us. +1 since it's moderate resistance. 8 + 1 is 9, so we have 2 waves coming at us. Now we're rolling to see how many fighters get driven off. That's a 2d6 roll. 6 is going to be 1 then 0. Yikes. Okay, so now we're rolling 2d6 on the moderate resistance. First wave, 52 is an FW190 at 12 o'clock high, which I'm not going to set out because it's going to get driven off. For the second wave, however, a 13, yikes. Well, this isn't too bad. We're going to have 2 FW190s, one at 12 o'clock high, the other at 10:30 high. So we need one for 12 o'clock high and one for 10:30 high. Okay, so we don't get to roll for... So we don't have any fighters getting driven off here. Okay, so we've got all that set up. Alright. Defensive fire. So who can fire at 12 o'clock high? I think the only thing we can use, since the nose gun's out, the only thing we can use to aim at this is the Another thing we can use to aim at 12 o'clock high is the top turret. So we're going to use that for 12 o'clock high. At 10:30 high, we can aim... We'll aim the left waist turret at that. And of course we don't get to aim the ball... Actually, do we get to aim... Can we aim the ball turret anywhere? No, we can't. So now we need to figure out what skills our German pilots are coming at us with. We'll roll black for 10:30 high, red for 12 o'clock high. Okay, so 10:30 high is an ace, 12 o'clock high is green, which means the ace is a little bit more... The ace is a +1 to hit the bomber, -1 to hit, and -1 to collisions. The green pilot at 12 o'clock high is -1, +1 to hit the bomber, is -1 to hit the bomber, +1 to hit the fighter, +1 on the collision table if we need to face that. So we will need to keep an eye on that. Anyway, we need 2d6. We'll roll for the ace first from the left waist turret. So that will be Wolf taking a shot at that. And we're -1 trying to hit that one. 8 -1 is 7, so that one's a miss, which means he'll get to attack normally, which is unfortunate. And then aiming the top turret at that. That will be... Top turret is Angel taking a shot at that one. We have a +1 to hit that one. 10 + 1 is 11. That one's hit. So Angel will potentially be getting credit for another hit, but let's see what happens on the roll here for damage. Snake Eyes is... Fighter continues attack, but breaks off after the attack. So he's got another... He's got no modifier on that roll. So I'll grab a chit for that. BOA, here we go. Fighter continues attack, but breaks off. So the green pilot's going to be continuing the roll, which means now we need to roll for the hit on the German offensive fire. So for 10:30 high, he needs an 8. He needs a 9+ to hit us, and he's got a +1 as an ace. 5 + 1 is 6 is still a miss, so he won't be able to attack us again, which means he breaks off. And then at 10 o'clock, and then at 12 o'clock high, the green pilot there has a -1 to hit us, and he needs an 8+ to hit us, a 9+ to hit us there as well. 4 - 1 is 3. He will also break off the attack, and we'll be done with zone 4 after this. All right, so the nose gun is jammed so the nose gun's jammed and out. Okay, so now we're getting ready to leave the zone, which means now we need to roll for another random event. This is a 2d6 roll. 5 is aggressive little friends. Add 1 column to the right on table 5-4 for the remainder of the mission. Poor becomes fair, fair becomes good cover. So 5-4 is the... Oh! So we're already on good cover, so that really doesn't do anything for us. So... Let's see, let me just double check the gun jam. Oh, for repairing, so E is, see the notes on table 5-6 for repairing gun jams. Attempt to fix a jammed gun once for each zone entered starting on the next turn. Can fire normally that turn. Alright, so we are into zone 5, which means first we need to roll for the weather. So we're into a new zone there. And I put the zone entry tables over here. No modifiers because we have haze. 6 is 50% cloud cover. which won't be enough for us to have to try to potentially recall the mission. Mechanical failure. A 16, ooh, that's close, but no problem there. Do we have contrails forming? Oh wait, I haven't been paying attention to modifiers, so -1 is... That's for... Is that for a modifier to bail out or for resistance? On 5... Oh, okay, so modification on 5-1 when determining resistance. So a 1 on the contrails table says we will have contrails forming. All right, so now we're rolling for potential resistance. We're a -1. I believe we're a -1 because of... Actually, yeah. So we're a -1 because of the zone we're in, and -1 because of 50% cloud cover. So we're a -2 total. Actually, we're a -3 total because of the zone we're in, for 50% cloud cover, and good fighter escort. This is the last zone we're going to have that. So 3 minus 3 is 0, which means we have no resistance. So nothing happening there, but we do need to roll for a potential random event. Yeah. Five is aggressive little friends again, so that doesn't... Ignore and reroll on the table until another random event, until another event is rolled. 6, extra tight bomber formation. So when rolling for attack fighter waves, add -1. So we decided to tighten things up here. So we're a -1. So we're -1 on 5-2, and a +1 on, and a +1 on 6-6, which is the bombing run. So now we're getting ready for Zone 6. Now we're losing the fighter escort. First thing up we do is roll for weather, and I believe we're a +1 because of 50% cloud cover. Yes. Ten plus 1 is 11, so we're back under 100% cloud cover, which means we need to see if the mission's recalled over weather. That's a 40, so mission is not recalled. Mechanical failure. 61, no problems there. Do we have contrails? We do not. All right, so we're over France, which means we're a -1 on fighter on the resistance that we're facing. Once I get back to the chart, -1. Actually, we're a total of -2 because we have -1 on the zone and -1 for 50% cloud cover. 4 minus 2 is 2, so we have light resistance. We have light resistance here. Since we're on light, we have -1 to fighter resistance, and that's our only modifier. 9 minus 1 is 8, so we have we still have 2 waves coming at us. And we need to see what those waves are on light resistance. So first wave we're looking at. .34 is 2 Messerschmitt 110s at 3 o'clock low and 6 o'clock low, and a third one and a 210 at 10:30 high. So ME 210s, 3 o'clock low, 6 o'clock low, and what was the third one? 10:30 high. All right, we have no fighter escort. We have no fighter escort to worry about here. Defensive fire, we get to set that up first. back to the defensive fire allocation. So from 1030 high, we're going to have the left waist fire at 1030 high, or fire at the 210 there. Well, the nose gun's out, so we can't do anything with that. Actually, the nose gun wouldn't be able to hit this anyway. At 6 o'clock low, we're going to have the ball turret, which is finally Diablo. We'll have Diablo aim at that one. And we'll have the 3 o'clock low. We'll have the tail gun aim at that one as well. Then at 3 o'clock low, I think all we can do there is point the right waist at that one. So now we need to determine fighter status, which means we're going to roll for, so we'll roll for 1030 high first. He's green, I believe. I believe 1 to 2 is green, yes. Then we'll roll for 6 o'clock low, nor average, and 3 o'clock low, also green. So we should have an easier time getting at these planes, but before we get into that, I need to take a small break. We actually can try to repair the gun jam for the nose gun to potentially be able to use that. We attempt to fix a jammed gun once for each zone. Okay, so we'll try repairing the nose gun before we go into defensive fire. 1 to 2 gun fixed, can fire normally that turn. 3 to 5 guns jammed. 6 gun is broken permanently. So the nose gun is actually out for the entire mission. That is very unfortunate. Okay, so now we're rolling. So now we'll start off with the left waist. That will be Wolf getting to take another shot at the Messerschmitt 210 at 1030 high. That's a +1 to hit that. 9 + 1 is 10. That will definitely be a hit. So that's left waist was Wolf getting a hit there. So now let's see what kind of damage we do to it. Five is fighter will continue the attack. So that 210 will continue its attack normally. With a -1 modifier to hit us though. So we obviously rattled that guy. Now moving over to 3 o'clock low. The right waist is Sage taking a shot. Eight + 1 is 9. We get another hit there, so Sage will get a potential hit. And 11 should be fighter goes toodaloo, and yeah, fighter very much goes toodaloo. Now let's see what we can do with the 210 at 6 o'clock low. Ball turret is Diablo, who is our ace for a day, so he's going to get a shot at this. We have a +2 modifier because because Diablo's ace for a day and the pilot's green. 8 + 2 is 10. We definitely hit it. A 6 is fighter will break off after the attack, so he's got a -2 attack modifier. Once there we are. At least for that attack. But we are actually also going to take a shot with the tail turret. With the tail gun, that's Tiger taking a shot with that. So we still have a +1 to hit him now. Only because he's green. 8 + 1 is 9 is another hit. So Tiger will pick up a hit there. 10 should be plane goes toodaloo, and it does. So plane is toast. And I think we fired the left waist already, didn't we? Yes. But we couldn't, well, we did hit it. Fighter continues the attack, but he's continuing like normal. So a -1, which is totaling a -2 modifier. German offensive fire. So from 1030 high, he would need a 9+ to hit us, but he's -2 because he's green and he's continuing the attack. 5 -2 is 3, so that's a miss, which means he will break off the attack. And that was our first wave, I believe. Was it? No, that was our first wave, actually. So now we're rolling the 2d6 again. $31, no attacks this time, so we're all clear there. Which means now we're moving into... So we're a zone away from the target zone at this point. Which means we have to roll for a random event first. I've got to remember to do that before I leave the zone. 5-3D. 5, we already have aggressive little friends. 10 is extreme cold again. Uh-oh, this could be a problem. Alright, so we know the nose gun's already broken. Let's go to the top turret. Top turret's fine. Go to the left waist, or the ball gunner next. Ball gunner's fine. Left waist. Left waist is jammed. Right waist. Fine. And tail gun. Also fine. Delightful. So we potentially lost the left waist for the mission, which I put... I didn't flip that over already, did I? No, I didn't. I put it right there. So now we're into zone 7, which means we have to roll for weather again. We're +1, actually we're +2 here, because we've got 100% cloud cover. 1 + 2 is 3, which means we have haze this time. No possible contrails here. Well, no mission recall. How about mechanical failure? That's a 59, no failure there. Contrails. Yes, we have contrails. Okay, now we're rolling for resistance that we're encountering. We're a -1 because of the zone we're in. Three -1 is 2, so we're facing light resistance. Light, which means we are a -1 on number of waves we've got coming at us. 5 -1 is 4, so we have 1 wave coming at us on light resistance. So let's roll for this. 45 is a Messerschmitt 109 at 130 high. So we've got not an ace one. Here we go. ME 109 at 130 high. With a potential for 3 rounds of combat with that. Okay, so we get to determining defensive fire, I should say. Right, from 130 high, we can we'll aim the top turret at that. There's the top turret. Wait, the top turret just got jammed, didn't it? No, the left waist got jammed, but we can't aim the left waist at this anyway. 130 high, we'll aim the right waist at it though. Along with the right cheek. So we'll aim those at it. Okay, now that we've got that straight, we need to determine what skill our pilot is coming at us with. 6 is an ace coming at us. Joy. Okay, so now we start with bomber fire. The top turret is Angel, who's been really good for us today. We have a -1 to hit it, We have a -1 to hit it. 6 minus 1 is 5. That's a miss. So the top turret's done. The right waist is Sage, who's also got a hit for now. 4 minus 1 is 3. That's a miss. So that was top turret, which we've marked off already. Right waist and right cheek. We're getting our first look. Who does right cheek? That's probably Jester who handles that one too. So let's see what Jester's able to do with this. He's still he's a -1 to hit that Messerschmitt because he's an ace. 7 minus 1 is 6, which is still a miss. So he will get to fire as normal. And he's a +1 to hit us. So from 130 high, he needs a 9+ to hit us. 8 plus 1 is 9 is just enough to hit us, which is unfortunate. So now we need to figure out how many hits we get scored on us. So from 130 high, 6 is going to score 1 hit on us. A hit effect multiplier. So that's a Messerschmitt 109. We roll a d6. Two is actually going to turn into no hits, but as required, roll a d6. Okay, so that does count as superficial damage for that hit. So that one the plane's going to walk off. Let's see, then after that, since we had a hit, I believe we roll for potential collision. Yep, roll 2d6 on table 516 to determine whether the attacking fighter presses close enough for a collision. So he's a -1 because an ace, and another -1 if he didn't score any hits on the bomb. Well, he did score a hit on the bomber, so he's a -1. And okay, never mind, it's just a -1. 5 minus 1 is 4, so no threat of a collision. Fighter can reattack if it's eligible to do so, and it is. So now we roll on... So now I believe we loop back. The fighter collides, no. Alright, C6-5. We're not taking evasive action. So now I believe we loop back. And now we're rolling for where he's going to cycle to next. Okay, so we'll roll. So we're rolling on 5-9. We've got a clock and the level. So we're going to roll black for the clock, red for the level. So he's moving to 9 o'clock level for this one. So he's going to move over here for round 2. Let's see, at 9 o'clock level, we can point the ball turret, which is right here, and the left waist. No, the left waist is jammed, so we're going to try to repair that. Which we need which I believe we needed oh, right, here we go. 1 to 2, gun fixed and can fire normally. Right. That's a 4, so the gun remains jammed, which is unfortunate. So it looks like we're firing just the left waist and the ball turret at that one. Ball turret is Diablo, so that's a good one to have firing at him. So Diablo will cancel out the +1 for the ace. And it's a straight roll after that. Okay. That's a 9, which is good enough to be a hit for Diablo. So against an ME 109. A 3 is going to be fighter continuing the attack. So almost like superficial damage in a sense. Then the left waist. So ball turret. Wait, which one was that? Was that the left? Was I pointing the left cheek at that one? At 9 o'clock level. Okay, never mind. That was the left waist. I was trying to point at that, but that one... Oh no, we pointed the top turret at that one, so that's going to be Angel, who's going to fire there. Three minus 1 is 2, so that one's going to be a miss. Now for the 109, the -1 on the continuing the attack will cancel out the ace bonus that he gets. So from 9 o'clock level, he needs an 8+ to hit us. Which a 5 is not, so he's going to break off after that attack. Which is most excellent. So he breaks off there. And then we're getting ready to head into the target zone, so before we get there, we need to roll for a random event. A 10 is extreme. This is the third time we've had extreme cold. Alright, so working our way back. The nose gun's already out. The left cheek is all clear. Right cheek, all clear. Top turret, all clear. Radio gun, all clear. Left waist was already jammed. Right waist, also clear. Ball gun, tail gun, all clear, thankfully. So we got away with one there. Now we're into the target zone. So now there's a special procedure here. First we roll for weather. Is there a set of rules for when we're in the target zone? Yep. So roll on table 4-1 to determine the weather. 8 is going to be good for 50% cloud cover, so that's going to cause a modifier most likely on the... Yeah, there's going to be a +1 modifier probably on hitting it. We don't get a mission recall here. Do we roll for mechanical failure like normal? Doesn't look like it. So we determine target visibility, which is going to be on table 6-1. Am I in the right book that I need to be? Probably. Come on. Table 6-1, here we go. So target visibility, rolling a d6 for this. Four is targets mostly obscured. Great. Actually, we have a +1 from 50% cloud cover, so yeah, mostly obscured. Which means we will have a -1 modifier on 6-2. On 6-2 and 6-6. Delightful. Okay, so now we've got that figured out. We roll for contrails. We have to roll for contrails as well. We do have contrails. Of course we do. Okay. All right. Well, I'm skipping around a little bit. So we determined visibility, which means we have to determine fighter attacks. So we're going to be looking at a. We have -1 for 50% cloud cover. Actually, we should have been rolling at +2 for no fighter escort. So we're at a total of -1 of 50% cloud cover, +2 of fighter escort good, +1 of contrails form, +1 in the target zone, +1. So +2, +4, 5. This is a net roll of +4. Oh joy. 6 + 4 is 10, so we're facing heavy resistance. Wish I could even act surprised. And then we are at +2. We're at +3 since we're in the target zone and fighter resistance is heavy. 7 + 3 is 10, which means we've got 3 waves coming at us. Before we get to the first of those waves, I need to take a small break and change my battery. Well, now we're facing heavy resistance on 3 waves, so let's see what we've got to deal with here on our first wave. .41 is a Messerschmitt 109 at 6 o'clock high. So we've got a Messerschmitt at 6 o'clock high. Okay, we of course don't have any fighter escort to drive that off with, so it's 6 o'clock high. The top turret's going to fire at that. The radio room can aim at that. And the tail turret's going to take a shot at that as well. So let's see what skill he's coming at us with. That's an average pilot coming at us, so no change there. Okay, so we'll start off with the top turret, as that's Angel taking a shot at that one. No modifier here. 7 is a miss, which is unfortunate, so the top turret's done. Radio room for Cypher. .10 is going to be a hit for Cypher. Let's see what kind of damage we do to that one. That's a 109. 7 is going to be fighter breaks off after the attack. So he will continue his attack, but he will be breaking off once I find an FBOA. There we are. And the tail turret from Tiger taking a shot. .5 is going to be a miss. Okay, so let's see what that ME-109 is able to do with the hit. He's a -2, trying to attack us because of the FBOA, which means from 6 o'clock high, he needs a 7+ to hit us. Snake Eyes will definitely not hit that, so he will break off the attack. Which means now we're looking at our next wave. .43 is 2 FW-190s, one at 1030 high and the other at vertical dive. So there's an FW-90 at 10 o'clock wait. What was that at 43? Oh, 1030 high and vertical dive. Where is the... Oh, vertical dive. Here we are. Okay, so from vertical dive, we're going to point the top turret at that one. At 1030 high. I think that one we're pretty much... That one I think we're going to have to take on the chin because both of our... Well, let's see if we can repair the left waist. We need a 1 to 2 to repair it. That's a 5, so it's still going to be jammed. And we're stuck with it jammed in this zone. Which means the one at 1030 high we have to take on the chin. So let's see what skills we've got coming at us. Black for 1030 high, red for vertical dive. The ace is at 1030 high, and the one at vertical dive is normal. That's rather unfortunate. So we'll roll for the one at vertical dive first. That's a 9, so that one's going to hit, and that's an FW-190. Right, that was a top turret. So that's Angel picking up yet another hit. 3 is he's going to continue the attack. And then we have to take this one on the chin. So we'll roll we'll roll for vertical dive first. From there he needs a 9+ to hit us, but he's -1 because the fighter continues attack. 4 -1 is 3 is not going to do it, so he will break off the attack. And then the fighter at 1030 high is an ace, so he gets a +1, which means at 1030 high he needs a 9+ to hit us as well. That's a 3 + 1 is 4. He'll break off the attack since he missed. then we'll be looking at our third and last wave coming at us. Let's see what we roll here. That's a 45, which is 2 ME-109s and 2 210s. So 2 ME-109s, 2 ME-210s. The ME-109s on a 45, 1030 level and 12 o'clock level. Then the 210s are at 1030 low and 1030, wait. Hold on, an ME-109, yeah, I guess we got 2 planes coming at us at 1030 level. ME-109. There we go. Oh, fun. All right, thankfully this is the last wave though, so there is that consolation to it. So now we have to determine where we're pointing our defensive fire. I want to try to drive off the 109s first if I can. Do we have to designate a plane target, or do we just designate the level we're firing at? I think we'll fire against each attacking fighter, so we have to target the fighters, which means at 12 o'clock level. Actually, where do we want to aim these? I want to try to drive off the 109s first, since they'd be here longer in theory. So at 12 o'clock level, I'm going to point the top turret at that. What else can fire at 12 o'clock level? The nose gun is, of course, broken, so we can't do anything with that. And we don't have a chin turret. At 1030 level, the left cheek is also out, so that one we're going to have to take on the chin. Yeah, the left waist... No, the left waist is what's jammed. The left cheek we can point at the ME-109 there. 1030 low. What can we aim at that? We can aim the ball turret at 1030 low, at the 210 there. And we can also aim... I think we've got everything else occupied there, so that's what we're going to do. We'll roll for each pilot individually. So first up, we'll roll for the pilot, the 210 at 1030 low. He's the average. The 210 at 1030 level. Also average. 109 at 1030 level that we're aiming at. He's green. And then the 109 at 12 o'clock level. Also green. So we've got a couple of green pilots coming at us, which should be helpful to try to drive these guys off quickly. And this is the last wave before we get into the bombing run. So let's see if we can get some hits in here. So we'll start off with the ME-109 at 12 o'clock level. That's the top turret. Top turret is Angel again. And it's a +1 to hit him. 8 + 1 is 9 is good for a hit against enemy 109. 4 is you're going to continue the attack. Then the left cheek at the green ME-109 at 1030 level. That is 1030 level. Who did we have aiming at that? That was the left cheek we had aiming at that. So that was... I sure wish there was a guide here to tell you which crew member aims at... which crew member is in charge of each turret. There probably is somewhere in here. But... this is actually really irritating. Nothing I can find in here anyway. Again, really annoying. So I think... right, I think that was the left... I think that was left cheek we had firing at that, which was probably Jester, actually. We'll go with that. 4 is not enough to hit anyway. And then the ball turret that's aiming at the 210 at 1030 low. Ball turret's Diablo, who's our ace for a day, so we got a +1. We're at a +2 total to hit that ME210. 6 + 2 is 8, which is just enough to hit it. So Diablo is going to pick up another possible hit. 7 on an ME210. Fighter's going to break off after the attack, so that's something at least. Which means he's got a -2 on the attack. So in a similar fashion, we'll start with 12 o'clock level. He's a -2 total because they have the FCA and the green pilot. So a -2 total. From 12 o'clock level, he needs a 9+ to hit us. Which a 10 -2 is 8, won't be good enough. So he will break off. Then the 210 at 1030 level needs a 9+ to hit us as well. Which a 7 is not, so he'll break off. The green pilot at the green ME109 at 1030 level. 5 will also break off. And the 210 at 1030 low, which is a -2. 1030 low needs a 9+ to hit us. Which a 5 -2 is 3 is most definitely not, so he breaks off as well. Alright, so we're done with all of that. Which means now we have to roll for flak on the bombing run since we are over the target. Where was table 6? I just had my hands on it. Right here. So now we roll for flak on the target. We're -1 if the visibility is... So we're -1 if since the target's mostly obscured, which is going to be canceled out by a +1 which is going to be canceled out by a +1 for contrail. So this is a straight roll. That's a 1, so no flak, which is very welcome over the target. No flak, which means we don't roll for any flak hits. And then the bomb run. We have to roll to see if we're considered to be on target. We had a +1 modifier here. Actually, we had a +1 from extra tight bomber formation, canceled out by mostly obscured. So it's just a straight roll. An 8 is good enough for the bombing run to be on target. Which means now we roll a 2d6 to see how accurate our run is. We don't have a modifier, I don't think, there. No. A 4 is good for 50% accuracy, so not bad, actually. Not bad on that result. So now I believe we turn around and we roll for another round of fighter attack. So now we turn around and we are... So turn around, resolve additional flak, and any fighter attacks again. Okay? So resolve additional flak, which means we have to roll again for flak over the target. Once again, we're looking at a straight roll here. We got no flak on the way in. How about now if we're on the way out? This time we have very light flak. So we're rolling for light flak 3 times. 7 is a miss on the first one. 6 is also a miss, and 5 is another miss, so flak doesn't touch us. But we do have to roll for another set of waves coming in. Oh. Okay, so 8 plus 1 F. None. We have heavy resistance again. So now we have to roll for the number of waves coming at us as we're turning around. And we're still at a +2. We're at a +3 actually. 5 plus 3 is 8, so we have another 2 waves coming at us. On heavy resistance, 34 is an FW 190 at 1030 high. And was that a 34 we established? Yes, 34 is an ME 110 at vertical climb. ME 110 at vertical climb. Okay, so we have we established we have 2 waves coming at us. Now, what can fire at those? I believe vertical climb we're going to have to take on the chin in round 1. No, we can actually point the ball turret Diablo at that, and we will. So ball turret gets pointed at... So Diablo is going to point at that one. Then at 1030 high... that one we're going to have to take on the chin, it looks like. We can point the top turret at 1030 high. So that's what we'll do. Now we've got to see what skills we've got coming at us. Black for 1030 high, red for vertical climb. 2 aces. Wonderful. Okay, so we have a -1 to hit them, and they have a +1 to hit us. Delightful. Alright, so let's start with the ball turret and Diablo, which is going to be a straight roll because Diablo's our ace for a day. 10 is definitely a hit, so against a 110... 5 is going to be fighter continues the attack. Here we are. Fighter continues the attack. Then the top turret going at the FW 190 at 1030 high. So that's top turret, that's Angel again. So this is going to be a -1 to hit him. 6 -1 is 5, that's very much a miss. So the top turret is done. Now we'll start off with the guy at vertical climb. He needs a 7+ to hit us. And he's got a straight roll here because the FCA cancels out his ace bonus. So 7+, which a 7 is just enough. So we'll deal with, so at vertical climb, he's going to score. 9 is 2 hits. Hit multiplier. 6 is ×2, so 2 × 2 is 4 hits. Delightful. So now we roll for the hits on... So we're getting attacked from vertical climb. Let's see what gets hit from vertical climb. First up, we've got the instruments getting hit. Let's see, instruments. Let's see what gets hit. 12 is the electrical systems. Oh boy, crew has to immediately bail out. So, uh-oh. Which is going to bring us to table 7-3, which is right here, controlled bailout. Alright, so we're rolling a 1d6. Do we have to use table 2.8C zone control chart to determine who is in control of the zone we're bailing out? And we're bailing out over the target, which I believe the Germans would be controlling, right? Let me just double check that. So now we've got a bailout procedure. Bailing out. Roll for each crewman separately. Oh, fun. Determine who is in control of the zone that we're bailing out into. Table 2.8C. Let's see if I can find table 2.8C. Ah, here we go. Campaign 1, axis controlled zones. So that's an axis controlled zone that we're bailing out into, which means we've got to roll for each. So we're bailing out into an axis controlled zone. And what does that do? Okay, so still under control from... Oh, I'm going to take a small break while I figure out bailouts. Okay, now that I've got that figured out, I know we're bailing out over Axis-controlled France. So now we're going to have to roll for each crew member separately. First up, we'll roll for Jester on table 7.3. So this is the table that I'm rolling on, and I'm going to open the window so I can... Actually, hang on a second. Here's what I'm going to do. Didn't see that my camera was starting to heat up, get a little bit warm on me. So now we're going to start rolling for bailouts. We roll a d6 for each crewman individually. So we're rolling on table 7.3 here. We want to see 2 through 6 on these. So let's see what happens with Jester bailing out. That's a 1. Uh-oh. So we're rolling now on another d6. Actually, I might roll... I'm just going to roll both of these together. I'll take this roll separately. Jester bails out okay. So I think what I'm going to do here is just to speed it up a little bit. I'm going to use both of the d6s. I'm going to use red to determine the bailout result, and then the black will only come into play if the red is a 1. So let's see what happens with Rough. Rough also has problems, but he bails out okay. Now for Patrick. Patrick also bails out okay. I'm rolling a lot of red 1s. I'd like to put a stop to that. Matthew is also bails out okay. Angel. Ooh, Angel bails out, but Angel's actually killed in an accident. And that was a pity because he was going to be turning into a good pilot or a good gunner for us. Cypher is also okay. Diablo also clear. Wolf bails out okay, but he has a problem there. Something went real sideways with his bailout, but he's okay. Sage also has problems. That is a lot of red 1s we've been rolling. And Tiger. Wow. Everybody seemed to have problems on that bailout. Didn't think nailing the electrical systems would be quite that bad. Anywho, crew bails out. And for each surviving crewman, we'll roll. So we'll roll again. We have to roll again to see if they're captured or if they are rescued by the underground. So Jester up first. Jester's captured. Rough also captured. Patrick also captured. We want to see a 6 on these to be rescued. Matthew He's rescued, and he'll return for the next mission, in theory, but I'll come back to that. Cypher, captured. Diablo, captured. Wolf, captured. Sage, captured. And Tiger, also rescued. Wow, so out of 10 crew members on this mission over Nazi-occupied France, were sent to Saint Nazaire to work on bombers, to work on U-boats actually. We hit the target pretty well, but we actually got shot down and had to bail out. Of our 10 pilots, 1 was killed and 7 were captured. 7 were captured and 2 were rescued. So how does that all work out? I believe if the crew has to bail out, does that just automatically end the campaign? Sure seems like it would, but... several ways the mission can end. So we definitely bailed out. So, yeah, we bailed out, but it doesn't tell us how the... Okay, when a bomber or crew member is lost, select a new bomber or crewman and give them a new name in preparation for the next mission. So, about that idea of there being a next mission. One thing I've discovered with wargaming is that I really like the heavy narrative-focused games. And I'm going to start cleaning up here while I talk about this a little bit. So I really do like the heavy narrative-focused games, which would make you think this would be a game that I would absolutely adore. But in truth, I'm kind of starting to turn on this one a little bit, and here's why I'm starting to turn on it a little bit. The thing I'm feeling about this game, as I was playing tonight's video, the thing I was starting to feel about this game is it was feeling almost like guided storytelling in a sense, where the player really has no agency in this one. It's just, you essentially roll dice and you go from chart to chart, which I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that if I felt like I had any kind of agency in the game where I felt like my decisions were actually impacting things, but they're really not in this game. And I've heard that this game's been used as training for writing after-action reports, which I can absolutely see that, because again, the player agency in this game is basically non-existent. So yes, it's a great storytelling engine, but again, for me at least, and I know Jester adores this game, for me at least, the lack of decision space in this game really hurts this one for me. So I think I liked it at first when I played this one last year, but just again, the feeling of this being essentially guided storytelling is kind of making me turn on this game. So I'm kind of rambling on that front a little bit, but that will do it for this playthrough of Target for today. We're halfway through the list at this point, and we're going to be busy once again on the channel. I never found the thing I was looking for. Hold on a second. Oh, right. I've got my book right here. So what we've got coming up tomorrow night, we'll see Game 2 of the American League Division Series between the Kansas City Royals and the Toronto Blue Jays in my 1991 payoff pitch baseball replay. Mike Boddicker will be going for the Royals, and Jimmy Key will be going for the Blue Jays in Game 2. Let me make a few notes here. And then the sport-focused weekend will continue over the weekend. Saturday morning, and this is rare because Saturday morning is when I normally upload Mystical Munchies. Saturday morning this week, we're going to have Saturday morning baseball, as the Pittsburgh Pirates will host the New York Mets in their Game 2 of their National League Division Series. Dwight Gooden will be going for the Mets, and Zane Smith will be going for the Pirates. The reason we're having Saturday morning baseball this week is because Mystical Munchies is actually going to be a Saturday evening upload, because Mystical Munchies this week is the entree, which is also going to double as dinner this week. We'll be doing the Meyerlurk Queen Steak, aka crab stuffed salmon. Then we'll have hopefully we'll have a Saturday afternoon double header in my 91 playoffs, but more on that when we get into, after we get done with the Royals and the Blue Jays tomorrow night. As for the rest of the videos coming up, Sunday we're playing our second football game on the channel as we debut Inside Blitz Football from Inside Sports Games. Then Wednesday next week we're playing Aeon's End. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.